Okay, so we are moving on to identifying sources of stress. So let us dive in. So you can develop targeted strategies to cope with or even eliminate stresses by pinpointing the specific factor that contributes to your stress. Okay, so not just adapting any universal strategy, but looking at a strategy which then if we identify the source of stress, we're more likely to be more effective in handling and dealing with it if we have the most appropriate method. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. And this is why it's important to explore these different sources of stress from individual to environmental factors, and in order to so you can then focus all your energy on ones that's more specific to you. It's really important. So personal factors are an internal stress, and this can stem from your own thoughts, your own emotions and behaviours. And these factors can include your own, personality traits, self-esteem and coping mechanisms. So personality traits like perfectionism, which is a massive one, huge one, I see so many times. And yeah, I've been a bit of a perfectionist in the past, and I've put strategies together which has helped me with that. Pessimism, also, there's other ones, a need for control, and these all can contribute to stress. And if you have some of these traits, you may struggle with setting unrealistic expectations or planning excessive pressure on yourself, which can then lead to chronic stress. You have low self esteem, which can make you more likely to be under stress, as you may feel overwhelmed or unable to cope with difficult situations that life throws at you. Additionally, people with low self esteem may engage in negative self talk and increase stress even more that way. And denial and avoidance of this, they're coping mechanisms, that people often resort to. But unfortunately, by not dealing with this, they're just going to prolong and intensify as well. We then have physical health, and this can also greatly affect our stress levels. An obvious example would be a chronic illness. You know, Chronic illness can require lifestyle changes, place people under financial stress, and of course degrade their own health. Poor nutrition, and the lack of quality of sleep can also play a massive role when it comes to stress in our lives. But as you'll see later, the relationship between nutrition and stress and sleep, and also it's bilateral, which means they all impact each other. For example, substances like drugs or alcohol, they're often used as a way to cope with stress. Unfortunately, this can then lead to addiction or even worsen things. Health issues, financial difficulties, and damaged relationships are, all that are things that come with substance abuse. Interpersonal relationships can be a significant source of stress, whether they involve family, friends, partners, co-workers. Typical relationship stressors include communication, difficulties, unmet expectations, conflict, and social isolation. You'll probably hear that I say this so many times, communication is so important. You cannot solve a problem if you do not communicate. And this can be done in a diplomatic way. And I get it, especially busy professionals, new parents. There's so many ways that conflict may arise or resentment may arise if you do not go about it the right way. You always will hear me saying that you communicate with your partner, and it's just about helping each other and it's been a team. But we can go into that in further detail later on down the route. So yeah, and yeah, like conflicts and communication difficulties go hand in hand when it comes to relationship problems. Poor communication can lead to misunderstandings and unmet expectations, thus resulting in conflict. Those struggling with communication may feel stressed when they cannot effectively express their needs or emotions or concerns. So, if there is something that you want to chat about your partner, a challenge for you this week would be diplomatic about it. Just say, this is something that's, it's stressing me. I want to talk to you about it. What's the solution here? How can we go about it? And yeah, like, humans are social creatures. And meaning a lack of social support will again contribute to stress. Being socially isolated from people can cause loneliness. They may be overwhelmed, or so yeah, social isolation, it can result in physical distance, busy schedules, and yeah, a lack of shared interest as well. Okay, work and career. So work-related stress, this is a massive one I see. It's one of the most common sources of stress nowadays. And according to one survey, actually, like more than 80% of employees felt stress at work at least once. I think that sounds quite obvious to say. And things like the work-life balance, bad workplace relationships, high job demands, and job insecurity, they all play a huge role here. And struggling to balance work with your personal life can be a major contributor to a lot of stress. Getting enough time and energy for your hobbies, socialization, even self-care is tough for most people. Even when you clock out, you're bombarded with work-related emails and not letting your brain switch off from it. And obviously during our chat, if that's something that you're struggling with, obviously we'll be going through a personal plan and how to deal with that and setting boundaries. It's really important. So high job demands, like excessive workload and tight deadlines, can contribute to stress. And when you're feeling overwhelmed by your job responsibilities, you may struggle to maintain your well-being, and it might be difficult to achieve this work-life balance. So yeah, I would say like with everything, has to be it's been happening over the last couple of years with yourself, and if job insecurity is one of these things, we need to address it. It's a real concern for a lot of people, job insecurity, and if it is, just be open with me so I can help you with that. And remember, it's a butterfly effect. The more you work on yourself, the more energy you have, the more opportunities does come. So just keep grinding, keep grinding. I'm here for you, so keep at it. And yeah, interpersonal relationships at work can contribute to stress, especially when a conflict happens between co-workers. I see this a lot as well, working with clients, and it can happen with your supervisor, etc. Toxic work environments characterised by bullying, discrimination, and a lack of support. These are also massive stressors as well, and it can be a big part of the equation. You also have financial stressors, things like debt, income instability, unexpected expenses are sadly everyday things for a large proportion of people, and again contributes to stress. EPA's stress in America, actually, there's a survey that found 72% of Americans reported feeling stressed and about their financials, and it's similar in the UK as well. And to be honest, I think that percentage has went up over the last couple of years. and you know, you have student loans, credit cards, other debts, etc. Make you feel helpless and anxious, making it hard to relax, and it can put people under, again, chronic stress. And you know, this obviously, just things like this, there's always a way to look at things, you know, and it's just having the support network around you. And again, speak to me about it, be honest. I'm always here. There's always ways to go about things. Okay, environmental factors. So although not often talked about, environmental factors can contribute to stress, especially when you feel uncomfortable or like you're in danger. You know, with more than half the world currently living in cities, traffic, construction, even neighbours can all produce a lot of noise. Believe it or not, this can cause stress, and it can do this by disturbing your sleep, concentration, and relaxation. Probably not really thought about that before. Chronic noise exposure also has a negative impact on physical health, which has been contributing to hearing loss and increased blood pressure. Polluted air, water, soil, pollution all has a negative impact on your physical and well-being, again resulting in stress. Pollution can also create feelings of anxiety and helplessness, and particularly when a person feels unable to control or escape this source of pollution, it has an impact on ourselves. So a couple of different things, you know, this is all going on, and no wonder why a high percentage of people are suffering with stress. And it's important that we know what stress is, what's happening within the body, and it's important to know the reasons why our body's acting like that due to triggers. So hopefully this has been helpful. What I want you to do is just again take some notes. What is stress? I want you to answer that for me. And so, what is stress? What happens in the body? And what is your own trigger? I want you to write these down, because obviously when we get to the end of the course, if you've got all this, and even if you just do a couple of lines, then each section, then at the bottom you're going to have your own strategies in place. And obviously we'll be figuring that out anyway, but it's important for you to do your own road mapping for the future ahead, out with my own support. And again, hopefully this is helpful. So we're going to be moving on to strategies on how to minimise stress next. Thanks.